It's the end of an era. After 8 years in office, Barack Obama's presidency will come to a close.
My fellow Americans, it has been the honor of my life to serve you.
For decades, critics will talk of his accomplishments and his failures. But one thing is undeniable. He made history.
I, Barack Hussein Obama, do solemnly swear.
I, Barack Hussein Obama, do solemnly swear.
Obama's campaign inspired enthusiasm, and there was hope for a united America.
We are more than a collection of red states and blue states. We are and always will be the United States of America.
But the years that followed would prove otherwise. Political science professor Jason Johnson shared his take on how Obama navigated these turbulent times.
He came in as one of the most optimistically viewed and well-heralded presidents we've ever seen. So he was almost never going to reach the heights that many people hoped and expected when he got elected.
Protests are growing larger in Baltimore over the death of Freddie Gray.
Overnight, police arrested more than 80 protesters following a grand jury's decision not to indict the officer who choked a man to death.
Anniversary protests and the death of Michael Brown turning to chaos in Ferguson, Missouri overnight.
Riots broke out overnight in Milwaukee. The mayor of that city is calling on faith leaders to help restore order to a city that badly needs it.
Clearly, the Obama era did not usher in a post-racial America. In many ways, America's racial divide became deeper than ever. Poll after poll shows that Americans think race relations are only getting worse.
He was expected to heal wounds that he had nothing to do with creating to begin with. And oftentimes it was laid at his feet to make white people who hated him like him. And it was laid at his feet to suddenly make different kinds of people who have never gotten along suddenly get along.
Yet the problems kept coming.
No justice, police. No racist, police.
A deadly struggle between police in Louisiana and the man they were trying to arrest.
The growing outrage after a deadly police shooting, the images now seen by millions across this country.
A man pulled over in Minnesota was shot and killed in his car.
Obama aimed to tackle the issue head on.
You know, if I had a son, he'd look like Trayvon. Citizens in Ferguson and New York and Cleveland, they just want the same thing young people here marched for 50 years ago, the protection of the law. Race remains a potent and often divisive force in our society.
His words are powerful, but when it comes to action, the jury's still out on whether Obama did enough to help black communities.
I think that President Obama initiated some policy changes when he talked about prison, when he talked about gun control. I mean, in those ways, he's demonstrated that race was a concern. But in some ways, I think he failed tremendously. I think he offered a lot of symbolic examples. The policy that he actually implemented to help African Americans was fairly limited. African American unemployment, African American youth unemployment, African American incarceration rates have continued to go up during his time in office.
But African Americans did benefit from some of President Obama's policies. Obamacare provided black Americans with access to health care in higher numbers than ever before. And Dodd-Frank aimed to shield people from abusive practices exposed by the 2008 financial crisis.
Let's be honest. Look, Barack Obama being elected president of the United States with a paper-thin resume and not much time in the Senate offended a lot of people. And the fact that that embodiment, that success, that accomplishment so quickly happened to be in the body of an African-American with a middle name Hussein was something that a lot of members of Congress had difficulty with, whether they were Republicans or Democrats.
Battle lines were drawn, but Obama weathered the criticism and carried on.
8 years ago, I was a young man, full of idealism and vigor. And look at me now.
Leaving office, Obama's approval rating is at 56%, the highest it's been since his first year in office. Donald Trump, on the other hand, is at 40%, the lowest for an incoming president in the last 4 decades.
I think history's probably going to remember President Obama very, very well, and here's why. You're never remembered for what you accomplish. You're remembered for what you accomplish in relation to the other people around you. He's about to be bracketed by a president who brought us into 2 wars and another president who got in after losing the popular vote by 3 million people.
The debate over Obama's legacy is one that will last for years, but there's no denying Barack Obama's place in history.
The idea of, within 50 years, seeing African Americans move from not being able to drink in water fountains, not being able to stand at the Lincoln Memorial in anything other than an ironic pose, to a black man with a black wife and black children living in a house built by slaves is a miracle. And it is a testament to what can actually be accomplished in this country.
Yes, we can. Yes, we did. Yes, we can. Thank you. God bless you. May God continue to bless the United States of America. Thank you.
I'm Lindsay Garfield, and this is Fusion.